Did you know that in France, infidelity is often treated by filmmakers not as a simple moral failure, but as a profound philosophical crisis of the soul? While Hollywood might focus on the scandal or the revenge, French cinema dives deep into the suffocating boredom of domesticity and the intoxicating, often destructive power of a secret life. From rain-slicked Parisian streets to sun-drenched country estates, these 10 films explore why the heart chooses to wander when everything seems perfect. Number 1. Unfaithful 1969. A suburban dream turns into a cold-blooded nightmare when a husband's suspicion meets a wife's secret. Hélène is the picture-perfect wife living in a quiet, sun-drenched villa outside Paris. But every afternoon, she slips away to a small, nondescript apartment in the city to meet a younger man who offers the fire and unpredictability her marriage lost decades ago. This original masterpiece by Claude Chabrol is a slow-burn tension wire that vibrates with unspoken dread. When her husband discovers the truth, he doesn't scream or demand a divorce. He waits, calculates, and eventually confronts the lover in a scene of chilling politeness. It's a masterful look at a woman who seeks a simple spark of excitement only to find a tragedy that can never be undone, proving that in a French thriller, the silence is often more dangerous than the scream. Number 2. Lady Chatterley 2006. An aristocratic lady trapped in a cage of silk and stone finds her true self in the dirt of the deep woods. Constance Chatterley is married to a man paralyzed by the Great War, living a life of hollow duty, intellectual conversation, and cold formality. Her world changes forever when she encounters the rugged, solitary groundskeeper on their sprawling estate. This isn't just a cheating story. It is a raw, physical, and spiritual awakening that challenges the foundations of the British class system through a French lens. In the arms of a man who works with his hands, Constance breaks every social, moral, and marital law to reclaim a body and a soul she thought were dead. The film uses the lush, overgrown French countryside as a metaphor for her own wild, untamed desires that can no longer be contained by her husband's rigid world. Number 3. Leaving 2009. She has the perfect husband, the perfect kids, and the perfect house, and she's willing to burn it all for a man she just met. Suzanne is a wealthy housewife who decides to return to work as a physiotherapist, but she finds something far more dangerous than a career: Ivan, a Spanish builder with a rough past and a magnetic intensity. Their attraction is a literal explosion that levels her comfortable life in a matter of days. Kristen Scott Thomas delivers a searing, career-defining performance as a woman who transforms from a sophisticated socialite into a desperate, feral fugitive of her own heart. The film doesn't offer easy answers or glamorous excuses. It is a brutal, unflinching reminder that passion doesn't just build new lives, it destroys existing ones with a terrifying scorched earth efficiency that leaves no room for regret or return. Number 4. Double Lover 2017. She's dating her therapist, but she's having a secret, dark affair with his evil twin brother. Chloe is a fragile, beautiful young woman who falls for her psychoanalyst, Paul, believing his calm demeanor is the cure for her internal chaos. But when she discovers Paul has a secret twin brother, Louis, who is also a therapist but operates with a far more aggressive, predatory, and dark energy, she begins a double life that blurs the line between reality and hallucination. This is a mind-bending erotic thriller that asks a terrifying question. Is she actually cheating on a partner, or is she living out a fractured psychological fantasy within her own mind? It's a stylish, surreal dive into the secrets a wife keeps even from herself, filled with mirror imagery and a sense of mounting, inevitable madness. Number 5. Madame Bovary 1991. The ultimate bored housewife whose hunger for a novel-worthy life leads to a debt she can only pay in blood. Emma Bovary is the original unfaithful wife of world literature, and Isabelle Huppert captures her cold, crystalline desperation perfectly. Stuck in a suffocating provincial town with a kind but hopelessly dull doctor husband, Emma seeks refuge in expensive luxury goods and a string of illicit lovers. She desperately wants the grand, tragic passion she reads about in romantic novels, but she finds that her affairs are just as hollow and disappointing as her marriage. As her debts mount and her lovers abandon her, the film explores the devastating realization that the perfect life she chased was an illusion. It remains the definitive warning about the danger of romanticizing infidelity as a cure for a mundane existence. Number 6. An Affair of Love 1999. They met for a one-time sexual fantasy with no names and no strings. Then, they forgot to stop. A man and a woman meet in a quiet cafe after responding to a personal ad to fulfill a very specific, private fetish. They agree on a contract of total anonymity. No personal details, no pasts, no phone numbers, and definitely no futures. But because they are human, and because this is a French film, the woman finds that her mechanical arrangement is slowly bleeding into her real, stable life. The film is unique because it is told through retrospective interviews, showing how a secret relationship built entirely on physical release can transform into an emotional bond that threatens to deconstruct a woman's entire identity and her commitment to the world outside that hotel room. Number 7. The Story of Adèle H, 1975. The daughter of France's greatest writer abandons her life to stalk a soldier who doesn't even want her. Based on the heartbreaking true journals of Adèle Hugo, this is a story of infidelity to one's own life and sanity. Adèle flees her family and her social standing to follow an English lieutenant across the Atlantic to Canada. She lies to her father, cheats her creditors, and manipulates every stranger she meets just to be near a man who has long since moved on. While she isn't a wife in the legal sense, she represents the extreme, terrifying end of the unfaithful spectrum, the total abandonment of reality for a crushing obsession. It is a masterpiece by François Truffaut that looks at love not as a romance, but as a parasitic form of madness that devours everything in its path. Number 8. My Golden Days 2015. A man looks back at the one woman who belonged to everyone and no one at the same time. As Paul Dedalus prepares to leave a diplomatic post, he recalls the defining, youthful obsession of his life. Esther. She was a beautiful, volatile, and fiercely independent girl who could never, and would never, stay faithful to him. The film explores a very French concept of amour fou, crazy love, where the woman's infidelity isn't seen as a betrayal to be punished, but as an inherent, mysterious part of her irresistible nature. It's a nostalgic, bittersweet journey through the memory of a cheating partner, showing how the pain of being betrayed can eventually transform into a beautiful, haunting scar that defines a man's entire understanding of what it means to love. Number 9. Mon Roi, My King 2015. A 10-year cycle of betrayal, passion, and recovery that feels more like a drug addiction than a marriage. Tony is a woman in a rehabilitation center after a horrific skiing accident, but as she heals her body, she reflects on the real injury of her life, her marriage to Giorgio. He is a king of charm, a master of gaslighting, and a serial infidel who views monogamy as a suggestion rather than a rule. The film captures the visceral, exhausting highs and lows of a woman caught in a loop of forgiveness and fury. It explores the dark psychology of why a wife stays with a man who constantly strays, illustrating the intoxicating, toxic pull of a partner who makes you feel like the center of the universe one moment and a complete stranger the next. Number 10. Just a Sigh, 2013. A 100-minute train ride to Paris turns into a life-altering betrayal of a perfectly stable life. Alex is a struggling actress on her way to a high-pressure audition when she locks eyes with a mysterious, older English stranger on a train. In a moment of pure, impulsive spontaneity, she decides to follow him through the streets of Paris instead of going to her appointment. For a few brief hours, she completely abandons her boyfriend, her responsibilities, and her very identity to inhabit a secret world with a man she doesn't even know. It's a slice-of-life film that proves infidelity doesn't always require a long-term plan. Sometimes it only takes a single sigh of boredom and a chance encounter to step out of your life and into someone else's. Which of these tales of secret passion and psychological tension left you the most intrigued? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the provocative and complex world of French cinema, please like, share, and subscribe for more curated movie lists and scripts. Your support helps us keep the cameras rolling.